The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Good evening. For the next 90 minutes, we're going to tell you a little about a man named Manie Sacks, who he was and what he did and what he actually meant to a great many people whose names and faces shine out at us from the glittering and beautiful world of entertainment. The story of Manie Sacks is actually a wonderful story. It's a success story, a typical American success story. And every time it happens, the lady with the lamp stands just a little bit taller. Manie started out as a salesman in a very small dress shop in Philadelphia. And he wound up with a whole fistful of initials after his name, just about the most important initials there are in show business. Initials like NBC, and RCA, and CBS. And whether he was called executive vice president of a television network or a general manager of a recording company or just Manie, his job was always the same. He was the sort of a right-hand man. Right-hand man in charge of kindness, help, guidance. And that's why Manie's a true success story, because in addition to all the titles and initials, he also wound up with a lot of friends. Among them were cab drivers, elevator men, shoeshine boys. And sometimes they were a little better known possibly because their names were up in lights. And that's why we're all here tonight, to help tell a little about Manie Sacks, not only as performers, but just simply as some of Manie's friends.
The names you see on the screen before you are some of those whose careers were helped and furthered by a word, a phone call, a lunch, a hand clasp, a gleam in the eye, or an all-day, all-night, all-year conference with Manie Sacks, Dinah Shore, Frank Sinatra, K-Star, Danny Thomas, Jane Wyman, and Jack Webb, your host tonight for the Liggett and Myers Tobacco Company, better known to you as Chesterfield, L&M, and Oasis, who are proud to be part of this tribute from
about Manie Sacks. I don't know where to begin. I guess everyone has a Manie Sacks in his life if he's lucky. Your own personal Rock of Gibraltar. When I was at sort of a low point in my career, it was Manie who turned me around and set me in the right direction and put me right into the heart of that television picture. And not, of course, until he had set me right in the recording picture. Manie had picked this song for me, and he made me record it because he had such faith in it. Well, I wasn't too sure because it was a little offbeat for me, but Manie insisted, and I recorded it, and you know the answer. It became the biggest hit record I ever had in my life. Funny thing, when we got to the record date, they made a very fancy arrangement of it, and it just didn't seem to be right. It was getting very late, and Manie said, now, everybody go home but the rhythm section and the accordion player. Just sing it nice and easy, Dinah. The reason Manny was so concerned was because I was expecting the stork any minute. Of course, the stork didn't come around that night. I recorded the song and went home. The stork came the next night. That was some week. Here's the song. East is east and west is west, and the wrong one I've chose. Let's go where I'll keep on wearing those strings and flowers and buttons and bows, rings and things and buttons and bows. Don't bury me in this prairie, take me where the cement grows. Let's move down to some big town where the lovely gal will cut her clothes, and I'll stand out in buttons and bows. I'll love you in buckskin or skirts that I've homespun, but I love you long and strong to wear your friends don't tote a gun. My bones denounce the buckboard bounce and the cactus hurts my toes. Let's bamboos where gals keep using those silks and satins and linens that shows, and I'm all yours in buttons and bows. Give me Eastern trimming where women are women in a high silk hose and deep blue clothes and French perfume that rocks the room, and I'm all yours in buttons and bows, buttons and bows, buttons and bows.
Thank you very much, Dinah. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce my very good friend, Mr. Jack Webb, speaking for Liggett Myers. And I'd like to add a word or two, if I may. This show has been on the dreaming board for a long time now, but with all the goodwill in the world, it wouldn't be possible for it to get off the board and onto the stage until a man named Terry Klein, who represents Liggett Myers, and one of Manny's very dearest friends, sat down and worked out all the conflicting commitments and the problems and, of course, the financial huddles. Never mind that on that night, Frank Sinatra might be in Burma, and Nat Cole in Las Vegas, Tony Martin in Miami, and all the rest of it. But Terry got on the plane and set the wheels in motion, and I don't think he's been down yet. Certainly, in my own case, I have found that the word sponsor means a very real and warm and human kind of a person. Here again tonight is one more example of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Webb.
This is the city, Hollywood. My name is Jack Webb. I'm proud to be with Manny's friends and to continue my long association with Liggett and Myers. You know them better as Chesterfield, L&M, and Oasis. Now, they've asked me to take you on location backstage to meet some of the stars of their programs and to show you how commercials are made. So, let's go. Now, on our way, we'll be seeing some famous landmarks like these. You know, here in Hollywood, we have one big job: to build entertainment, to make television pleasure for you the year round. Now, Liggett and Myers works year round to make pleasure, too. Smoking pleasure. We're kind of partners in the business of pleasure. The fact is, in Hollywood and New York right now, Chesterfield, L&M, and Oasis have 7 big shows going, plus 2 brand new programs coming up this month. Here at Mark 7, my home base, we're shooting DA's Man. And there's the star. Hi, John. That's John Compton for Chesterfield. In this studio, we're working on our new show, Pete Kelly's Blues, starting March 31st for Chesterfield. Come on in and meet the gang. Here's Pete Kelly's Big 7. And here's the man himself, Pete Kelly, Bill Reynolds.
Hi, Jack. Cathcart made me sound pretty good.
Yeah. Now tell me something, Pete. What can you and the boys do with the Chesterfield Men of America theme?
Give us the pictures, we'll give you the music.
Chesterfield, from the farmers on the rolling plain, driving pressure to the golden grain, to construction workers going day and night, caning the fury of a river's might. They're all men of America, making the swing to the top tobacco in Chesterfield King. Chesterfield, sun-drenched top tobacco's gonna mean that you're smoking smoother and you're smoking clean. Only top tobacco, full king size, gives the big clean taste that always satisfies. Chesterfield, Chesterfield.
We thought a living room setting would be most appropriate for a show about Manny because, well, there's the television set and there's the record player and the radio, and Manny was responsible for so much of the entertainment that came pouring out of them. There are other reasons, too. It seems that a living room is where I always think of Manny. I mean, sitting there helping me pick out a song or a dress or a name for the baby or telling me about a fellow named Eddie Fisher.
Dinah, I think of Manny on a lonely street corner in Philadelphia, because that's where I think I'd still be if he and his brother Lester hadn't found me. What I owe Manny I can never put into 90 minutes. I used to hang around his office, outside his office, for many, many hours every day, for a long time. I think you were in at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And finally one day came my big break. Eddie, he cried, I found a song, and only you can record it. Not Como, not Sinatra, not Lanza, only you.
Hey.
Yes. I've been to Como, Sinatra, and Lanza, and you're the only one left.
Must have been a darling song.
Oh, it actually was a very beautiful song, Dinah. But that wasn't the point. You know what kind of guy we're talking about? All a song plugger had to do was look hungry, and Manny would get his song recorded.
So you recorded it.
Yes. And that was sort of a start. Didn't quite sell 1 million records. It fell short by about 950,000. But it was the beginning. With these hands, I will cling to you. I'm yours forever and a day. With these hands, I will bring to you a tender love as warm as May. With this heart, I will sing to you long after stars have lost their glow. And with these hands, I'll provide for you. Should there be a stormy sea, I'll turn the tide for you. And I'll never, no, I'll never let you go. With these hands, I'll provide for you. Should there be a stormy sea, I'll turn the tide for you. And I'll never let you go. It's wonderful, Eddie, and I've been sorry ever since that I turned it down. names and dates and places, they kind of recede further and further into the background. The really important thing that remains is the measure of the man. And I'd like to tell you a little story about this very happy character that he was. It seems that he was known as the man who couldn't say no. He had a terrific business sense, made deals involving millions of dollars, and yet he was the fellow that could never hurt anybody. And a very great friend of his, a girl named Janet Kern, who is also a very fine, noted television critic of the Chicago American, she tells a story about Manie that really illustrates the point. Manie was the kind of a guy that they were always trying to marry off, you know? And this particular evening, somebody's aunt or cousin had introduced him to a girl, and they were going out to dinner. Now, I imagine that the girl was a very lovely person, but Manie just wasn't in the mood to get married. Anyway, after dinner, Manie wanted to call it sort of an early evening, but he didn't want to hurt the girl's feelings. So instead of saying, well, I'm tired and I think I better get on to bed, he merely said, excuse me, I have to leave now because I'm taking the midnight plane to Chicago. But of course, first, I'll take you home, see? The girl says, oh, no, you've been so sweet and so wonderful. I insisted that you let me help you pack. And that's Manie. And Manie said, well, I've already packed. And she says, well, good. Then I'll pick up the bags and I'll drive you to the airport. So poor Manie had to go back to the hotel, and while the girl was waiting in the taxi cab, Manie threw a few things in the bag, like magazines, telephone books, anything he could find, just dropped everything in, and off they go to the airport. To get there, Manie says, well, thank you very much. Now I can take it from here, see? Stay in the cab, and the cab will take you home. The girl says, oh, no, I insist on seeing you off. Which meant, of course, that Manie had to buy a ticket. He had to pay $6 excess for telephone books and stuff that he'd put in the thing. And he stepped on the plane, and he flew to Chicago. All because he didn't want to hurt the young lady's feelings. But wouldn't you know that he made a business trip out of it after all? Sure, at 3 o'clock in the morning, he called Janet Kern. He said, meet me for a cup of coffee in the morning, Jan, and I'll explain NBC's plans for next year. This is the way this character did everything. There, is he?
You know, talk about Manie not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings. You know how I met him?
No, would you like to tell him?
All right. I was singing with Tony Pastor's band, and one day my manager, Joe Shribman, burst into the band rehearsal, and he grabbed me and he said, Manie Sacks wants you to make a record for Columbia, and he thinks you're a pretty fine singer. Well, at the time, I didn't know who Manie Sacks was, but I wasn't going to ask questions. I ran right over there, boy, and 10 minutes later, I was making the record.
So that's how you met Manie, huh, Rosie?
Oh, there's more. Wait. The recording session just started out miserably and went downhill all the way. Everybody was telling me how to sing this song, and I was nervous. Finally, I just got so discouraged that I stamped off into the control room, and there was one thin, youngish fellow sitting in a corner, and I took it all out on him. Just mumbled, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, I think there are too many executives around here. He just smiled and said that everything was going to be wonderful, though. I was so mad, and he was so cheerful that I went out and did the song in the next take, though.
I suppose the little man in the control booth was Manie.
Yes, it was, of
Who
course.
else?
And when Joe finally introduced me to him and said, this is the man who gave you your break, when I finally regained my composure, I heard Manie say, you know, you're right. I think there are too many executives around here. That's sweet.
He was something. How did the record do, Rosie?
Well, enough to get me started on my own. That song will always mean Manie to me, though, Perry, and it's the one I want to sing right now. It was called You Started Something, and I guess it did.
Would you like to do it standing up or sitting?
Oh, I think
You
I'll
won't need-
stand.
Oh.
I'll stand this one.
I'll take these.
passing by. But you started something, I may never know why. But you started something, with your glance a new romance was in the making. Just like the sun starts the flowers to waking, I knew all about love. I said this can't happen, but then you came along and caught my heart napping. Now each hour and each new day will always be spring. 'Cause you really started something. I knew all about love. I said this can't happen, but then you came along and caught my heart napping. Now each hour and each new day will always be spring. 'Cause you really started something.
This is an animation studio where they make those cartoons you get so much fun out of, so much pleasure.
They said it couldn't be done.
Well, now, who said that? I'm sure you know that just about everybody in the country's been saying it. And you know what it means. It means L&M brought pleasure to filter smoking. And now, they're even singing it.
They said it couldn't be done. They said nobody could do it.
And now let's go over here and see how they set that music to pictures. It takes a lot of drawings, like this, about 1,000 of them. Each is photographed. And the final result? Well, all put together, it looks like this.
They said it couldn't be done. They said nobody could do it. But L&M is low in tar with more taste to it. L&M don't settle for any other.
Low tar,
More taste. Don't settle for one without the other. L&M.
Low tar, more taste. L&M is kindest to your taste. Yes, low tar, more taste. Get 'em both with L&M.
Don't settle for one without the other. L&M.
Right now we come to the first of many rolls of tape. The tape that's made so much of this show possible. Because so many of Manny's friends had conflicting commitments. But because they insisted on being on the show, we sort of taped them in advance. For instance, the young lady I have the pleasure of introducing right now is currently in Las Vegas. Her success happened overnight. Because there came a point in Manny's career when the record company that he was controlling had nothing but male vocalists, and he had to come up with a girl singer. And a girl singer that could sell records, say like 1,000,000. So he took a chance on this artist and gave her a song called The Rock and Roll Waltz. But he was wrong. It didn't sell 1,000,000 records, it sold 2,000,000. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kay Starr.
There in the night, what a wonderful scene. Mom was dancing with Dad by the record machine. And as they danced, only one thing was wrong. They were trying to waltz to our rock and roll song. 1, 2, and then rock. 1, 2, rocking chair's got me.
Do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do.
Cane by my side.
Do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do.
Fetch me that drink, son, before I tan your hide.
Do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do.
Can't get from this cabin. Going nowhere. Just sitting here grabbing at the flies round my rocking chair.
Do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do.
My dear old Aunt Harriet. Up in heaven she be. Send me a chariot for the end of my troubles I see.
Do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do.
Oh, rocking chair's got me.
Do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do.
Judgment Day is here.
Do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do.
And I'm chained to my rocking chair. My dear old Aunt Harriet, way up in heaven she be. Send me chariot for the end of my troubles I see. Oh, rocking chair's got me. Judgment Day is here, and I'm chained to my rocking chair. Yes, chair. Well, I'm chained to my rocking chair.
You know, there are many wonderful moments I think of when I think of Manny. Talk about being a great audience. I think Manny must have been the inspiration for that line, he laughs at card tricks. Oh, now, Manny knew about show business inside and out, but it never made him blasé or a know-it-all. He was sort of like a pushover, as a matter of fact. And no matter how many celebrities Manny nursed and babied and coddled, he never quite seemed to lose the wonder and the awe of them. Stardust just never came off. And I think that's how Manny came to put those wonderful twosomes together for records. If one star was great, then two stars, twice as great. And you should have seen him at a party. Oh, yeah, sooner or later, Manny'd push everybody over towards the piano and make them all do their act. Now, it got to be kind of funny sometimes. Once there were about 25 of us. We were all entertaining. And Manny was the entire audience. And he'd put the darndest combinations together. One night, he had Jane Wyman and me singing together. Can you imagine? Jane Wyman, a great dramatic actress.
Now, never mind the dramatic actress. We did pretty good that night. They were throwing quarters at us.
They did, as a matter of fact. Do you remember what they said about us? They said that you and I were the answer to the Everly Brothers. Just answer me one thing. How did Manny know you could sing? Now, you won an Academy Award, and we know that you could...
Manny knew me when I was a chorus girl, you know, hooping in the line.
You mean you were a chorus girl?
Well, sure. Wasn't everybody?
I guess.
You know, it's so funny. I remember a long time ago, Manny said to me, Janie, when you go out to Hollywood, keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Now, just listen, don't say a word. And you know, that's all I could think of the night I won the Oscar for Johnny Belinda. Manny was right again.
Well, all I can say is, I wish I'd have been that sure the night he teamed us up. Remember that night?
Oh, yes.
Just, do you remember? How about that song we did at the finish of the show?
Man, that was a gasser.
A gasser? You sure that you won an Academy Award?
Well, of course, but you know, we didn't have these outfits.
No, as a matter of fact, we didn't. If I remember correctly, we had looked a little bit more like lampshades, old lampshades, and we had a whole lot of nerve.
And a piano player who had studied for years.
Remember him?
The racing form.
Will you ever forget it?
Gladly.
Singing a song side by side. Don't know what's coming to tomorrow. Maybe it's the trouble and sorrow, but we travel the road, sharing our load side by side. All through the weather, what if the sky should fall? Long as we're together, it doesn't matter at all. Now they've all had the quarrels and the heartaches. We'll be the same as we started, just traveling along, singing a song side by side. See that sun in the morning peeking over the hill. I'll bet you're sure it always has. That's how I feel about someone. Somebody feels about me. We're always gonna be together, and that's the way it's gotta be. Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money. Maybe we're ragged and funny. Traveling along, singing a song side by side. Don't know what's coming tomorrow. Maybe it's trouble and sorrow. We're traveling around, sharing our love side by side. Through all kinds of weather, what if the sky should fall? If that sky should fall, long as we're together, we'll be together. It really doesn't matter at all. Oh, we've all had it simple. We'll be the same as we started. Traveling on, singing a song side by side, side by
Looking for scenery? We've got it. Every place in this town is a motion picture set. Even the Beverly Hills Hotel. They're shooting some scenes for our newest product, Oasis cigarettes. Watch this. Look right through here. What did I tell you about scenery?
Oasis takes you away.
Welcome to sunny California.
Oasis, fresh as a sunlit day. Oasis, cool as a sparkling spray. Oasis takes you away.
Away from the everyday in smoking to new freshness, rich tobacco, slightly cooled with menthol mist. New flavor, easy going, gentled by a superfine white filter. Delightfully different, a refreshing change.
Oasis, fresh as a tropic flower. Oasis, cool as a shady bower. Oasis, takes you away.
Delightfully different, a refreshing change. Try Oasis.
Up to now, the talk has been mostly about Manny's world of records and the music business. Well, I didn't get to meet Manny until he moved into television. And though the medium was different, the man was the same. He was always there for you when you needed him. And there was a certain number that I did that Manny liked. It was a pantomime of a man playing his first important concert. And here it is, in pantomime, for you, Manny.
like to introduce the man who played the Grieg. And now, if I may, I'd like to introduce the man who played the Grieg piano concerto, Mr. Irwell. Thank you very much.
Gee, Sid, I thought you did it. Oh, I love that. Wasn't that funny? Listening to Sid speak a moment ago, the thought occurred to me, when people gather to talk about somebody they love, you get a kind of a distorted picture. What I mean is, you rush to say the nice things, to remember only the wonderful moments, and I suppose, in all honesty, you've got to say that Manny wasn't a saint. I mean, he was a human being.
Sure, he had his faults like everyone else.
You really think so?
No!
That's what I said.
See what I mean? How do you really begin to tell the story of Manny? Manny didn't just pick songs or invent the small print in the contract or say just the right thing at the right time.
What kind of a fellow was he? Well, he used planes as though they were taxicabs. When he had to call California, if the line was busy, he'd fly there.
And the amazing thing is the way his career got started. Because the wife of an important CBS executive dragged her husband out to a dress shop because it was open late that night. The executive was so impressed with the way Manny talked about things, he felt Manny should be in the entertainment business. And the next day, Manny was. I've often thought if the store had closed early that night, I might be still hooping in the line.
And I'd be right there behind you singing with the girls in the line. Yes, that was the beginning for Manny. And because of it came the beginning for so many of us. This song that Manny suggested I record was the start of many wonderful things for me. Tonight I sing it to Manny. They're not making the skies as blue this year. Wish you were here, as blue as they used to when you were near. Wish you were here, and the mornings don't seem as new, brand new as they did with you. Wish you were here, wish you were here, wish you were here. Someone's painting the leaves all wrong this year. Wish you were here. And why did the birds change their song this year? Wish you were here. They're not shining the stars as bright. They've stolen the joy from the night. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here.
Smoking pleasure, entertainment pleasure. Liggett and Myers brings you both. Now, here in this rehearsal studio, a new show for L&M is shaping up. Let's take a look.
Bombay, that's the day.
Premiering Tuesday, March 31st.
On the way to NBC. There's a show on the way to NBC.
The Jimmy Rogers Show.
There's a guy on the show.
Jimmy.
And a girl with a guy.
Connie Francis.
On the show on the way to NBC. A fun kind of show, and it's sure kind of fun on the show on the way to NBC.
Tuesday nights, premiering March 31st, and brought to you by L&M.
They said it couldn't be done. They said nobody could do it. But L&M is low in tar with more taste to it.
Thanks, Jimmy. We'll all be looking in on your new show for L&M starting Tuesday, March 31st, following Pete Kelly's Blues on this network. Should be a big night for both of us.
some of Manie's friends will continue after station identification.
Eileen Farrell and Blythe Howard Keel. Bell Telephone Hour tomorrow.
And now we come to a second roll of tape of a truly wonderful guy who, although he's playing a club in Miami, is still here with us this evening. If I know this gentleman, and I'm sure I do, I can imagine some of the pictures in his mind as he watches the show tonight. The 18 holes of golf that we've played together, and the days and nights at the polo grounds when we'd be rooting for the Giants, and Manie, of course, would be passionately cheering for the Phillies. Yes, I'd say that this gentleman has a good many other thoughts in his mind and heart tonight, too, and I'd like to tell you about them. So it's with great pleasure that I present an old friend, Tony Martin.
Manie was this kind of a fella. You were either crazy about him or you didn't know him. As Grace Kelly's dad, Jack Kelly, always says, Manie Sacks had no former friends. You know, I was nuts about Manie, and I think about him all the time. You see, he made my show business a lot of fun. Well, I'm talking now as a performer who plays in cabarets and nightclubs all over the world. Well, you hit New York, you crawl into your hotel room, and right away the phone rings, and there's the voice of Manie saying, "What can I do for you, son?" I know he's beginning to sound like the Albert Schweitzer of show business. Well, to me, he was. What a guy. Incidentally, Manie picked these tunes for me, and I'd like to sing them for him right now. There's no tomorrow when now is forever, when love is true. So kiss me and hold me tight. There's no tomorrow. There's just tonight. When we are dancing and you're dancing, I get ideas. After we have kissed goodnight, still you linger. I kind of think you get ideas too. Here in this enchanted place, here beside your warm embrace, here with you so close to me, here is where I want to be. The world outside may be thrilled by treasures people buy for gold. I would rather be thrilled by treasures I alone can hold. Here beside the warmth of you, here within a dream for two.
Wonderful, Tony. Now, there's no question but that this next roll of tape brings us another one of the truly greats of the music world. He is now on tour. I think he's at this moment, he's in Las Vegas. But as with Tony, he's here on the show with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, direct from his very deep and loving devotion to Manie Sacks, Nat King Cole.
Good evening. Although I'm speaking these words 3 weeks ahead of time, I assure you, wherever I am the night of the show, Manie will be in all my thoughts. Along with so many others, I owe a great deal to Manie Sacks. He helped me with my musical career. He helped me put together my television show. He helped me. Whenever we were together, even at a ball game, sooner or later, he'd always ask me to sing this particular song. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, you're so like the lady with the mystic smile. Is it only 'cause you're lonely they have blamed you for that Mona Lisa strangeness in your smile? Do you smile to tempt a lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this your way to hide a broken heart? Many dreams have been brought to your doorstep. They just lie there and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Are just a cold, lonely, lovely work of art? Many dreams have been brought to your doorstep. They just lie there and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Are just a cold, lonely, lovely work of art. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa.
It's a thrill to be here on this wonderful tribute to Manie Sacks with such a great lineup of stars. Really, there's so much talent backstage that they caught Ed Sullivan in the hall with a net. I hope this show is getting through to New York all right. I understand the Russians are fishing in the Mississippi. Did you read about the Atlantic cable being cut? Now I know what they mean by a party line. No wonder Bridget hasn't called back. No, the overseas operator kept saying, I'm sorry, Europe doesn't answer. And the cable cutting was more serious than we thought. They not only cut the cables, they cut Lloyd Bridges' air hose. His next 3 shows will be nothing but bubbles. But if there's any more cable cutting, we'll get even. We'll award Khrushchev a Nobel Prize. He'll work his way out of that. Say, we hope you enjoy this color TV spectacular tonight. We have color scenery, color makeup, color tubes, color cameras, and color cable so that you can all see it in black and white. Well, this is a great tribute to Manie Sacks. You know, Manie guided the careers of some of our top performers. He guided Sinatra through Thin and Thin. And Manie was wonderful to me. The first time we met, he shook my hand and said, stick with it, kid, you're in the right business. What I didn't like about it was I was working in my brother's butcher shop at the time. He was always a lot of fun to dine with. He always grabbed a check. He was known as the fastest wallet in Toots Shores. Jack Benny used to fly to New York just to have lunch with him. No man is perfect. We all do wrong. Manie worked for another network. But he rose above it and came through clean. And it's a tribute to this industry that they forgave him. Then he became one of the gray flannel knights at General Sarnoff's round table. He stayed quite a while. He had a safety belt. But he saved many a damsel in distress and a few comedians, too. I'd hate to think where I'd be if he hadn't shown up with the bail money. He introduced me to my first sponsor and later on counted for the knockdowns. That was Pepsodent. He gave me this set when I left. In those days, they didn't wonder where the yellow went. I was right there in front of the microphone. After Pepsodent, I was on for Lux, Swan Soap, and Dutch Cleanser. I have so many old friends in the bathroom, I kind of hate to leave. When everybody has their problems, I hear that Congress is investigating the jukebox and record business. Personally, I don't think Bing is that bad. No, there's a big expose of racketeers muscling into the record business. Now when they say we're pressing, you don't know if they mean the record or the singer. No, it's not easy for Congress to get a clear picture. Did you ever try to subpoena a chipmunk? Keep building a nest out of the papers. They're really in trouble unless they can come up with a bill of sale for those fur coats. The chipmunks, you know, they've had the thing on the outside. Alvin may be deported. That's one thing. I don't know what to make out of it. If you can't trust Rosemary Clooney, who can you trust? I'd hate to think that Tom Dooley got it because he wouldn't pay protection. You want stereo, they put an extra hole in your head. Everybody's scared, even the disc jockeys. Now when Peter Potter plays a record, he says, will it be a hit or a hit? I should have known gangsters were influencing the record business from some of the albums that were coming out. The Warden is a Fink, Cha-Cha-Cha. Marches for the Last Mile. It's a gasser. Everybody's making albums now. Jane Mansfield's got a new album. South America Put It Back. Macmillan and Khrushchev just made an album together. Just friends, lovers no more. Castro's put out a single. Batista, won't you please come home? Edward R. Murrow and Arthur Godfrey put out an album together. I Can Do Without You Very Well. It's on the Sneer label. Now, Ed Murrow's taken a year off. He had to. All the ashtrays at CBS are full. Well, I want to tell you it's a thrill being on this show, and I leave you with a word from that great Chinese philosopher, Henny Youngman, who said, money can't buy happiness, but it can help you choose the type of misery that is most agreeable to you. Thank you very much.
We're way out on location, friend, back in the frontier west. See if you can read that sign. Gunsmoke, this-a-way. TV's top show, on for L&M. Black Saddle, that-a-way. The great new western for Oasis. Let's go see some action.
Hold it!
That's the star, Peter Breck, who plays Clay Culhane.
Got a light? Thanks. Oasis. Like we say, Oasis takes you away from the everyday. Watch.
Oasis takes you away.
Welcome to Waikiki Beach, Oasis in beautiful Hawaii.
Oasis, fresh as the break of day. Oasis, cool as the ocean spray. Oasis takes you away.
Away from the everyday in smoking to new freshness. Rich tobaccos, lightly cooled with menthol mist. New flavor, easy going, gentled by a superfine white filter. Delightfully different, a refreshing change.
Oasis takes you away.
When I left Benny Goodman and started my own band, I did what every new band leader always does. I prayed for a hit record. Well, Manny found one for me. Manny helped me find something else, too. He was always after me to get a boy singer with the band. Well, one night I discovered just the fellow. He was singing in a little place called the Rustic Cabins out in New Jersey, and I grabbed him. Well, he sang with my band all right, and after that he sang with the great Tommy Dorsey band. And in that whole marvelous big band era, with all the great instrumentalists and singers, the sight that sort of, well, always stays with me is the one when he was almost hidden by the microphone, the kids were dancing, and this is the picture.
This love of mine goes on. Though life is empty since you have gone, you're always on my mind. Though out of sight, it's lonesome through the day. But oh, the night I cry my heart out, it's bound to break. Since nothing matters, let it break. I ask the sun and the moon the stars that shine. What's to become of it? This love of mine, this love of mine goes on and on. You know, in my mind's eye, I can see Manny kind of wading through a floor full of kids to put in a kind word and a pat on the back of the thin singer singing with the band. We grew very close, Manny and I, from the time I started with Harry James and then later with Tommy Dorsey. And finally, when I went out on my own. Out on my own. That meant that every time I needed help, I yelled for Manny. He was our Caro, DeRocha, and the 7 blocks of granite. And with a parlay like that, how can you miss? But you know, a ladder goes 2 ways, and it's not all the time up. And there was a while there when the days grew leaner than the thin singer himself. But Manny never wavered. And one day he went out into left field and came up with the idea that became a record called The Birth of the Blues. And with that, the carousel started turning again, this time much brighter, much louder, and more merrier than ever before. So you can see that what I owe him, there's a little bit of Manny in everything that's ever happened to me, and everything that was ever good that's ever happened to me. And there'll never be a word big enough to say thanks. Hi, Dixie Flyer. Clyde!
You remember the first time we ever did this medley?
Yeah, it's your first hour show, you remember? Remember how Manny flipped?
Oh, yeah. Ever since then, you know, I've thought of it as Manny's medley.
And that's a good idea, too. Shall we blow him a kiss together?
Together.
Manny? You make me feel so young. You make me feel that spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a cuckoo individual.
I fell in love with you the first time I looked into
Why?
Them there eyes. And you got a certain little cute way of flirting with them there eyes.
Particularly when they're red and blue.
They make me feel happy. They make me feel red and blue. No, darling, I'm falling in a great and big way for you.
A party day.
What's new?
In London town. It had me low. And it had me down. But suddenly I saw you standing right there. And in foggy London town, the sun was shining, 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 shining everywhere.
I've got you under my skin.
And I'm glad.
I've got you so deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart, you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin.
Here I go again. I hear those trumpets wail again. All aglow again. Taking a chance on love. Everything's mending now. I see the rainbow blending now. We'll have our happy ending now. Taking a chance on love.
The way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea, the memory of that, thank you. No, no, they can't take that away from me.
I won't let 'em.
The way you hold your knife. life.
It's a switchblade.
The way we danced. The way you've changed my life. No, no, they can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away from
all of me. Why not take all of me? It ain't very much, though. Can't you see? I'm just a mess without you. You know that you took the part that used to be my heart. So why not take all of me?
Daddy.
Daddy, what?
I want a diamond ring, and I want bracelets and everything, Daddy. You ought to get the best for me.
I'm busted, baby, busted. Tapped out.
Now listen, Daddy. I want a brand new car, and I want some champagne, and I want caviar.
You're not well.
Daddy, never mind. You got to get the best for me.
I can't give you anything but love. Baby, that's the only thing I'm loaded of. Baby, till that lucky day, you know darn well, my little baby, I can't give you anything but love.
Listen, you know something? I know something about you that you don't know anybody like I would know about you.
You're not going to tell the people all about me,
Tell
are you?
all about it right now. You must have been a beautiful baby.
You've been drinking. Beautiful baby, me. When you were only starting to go to kindergarten.
What a memory.
I bet you drove the little kids wild.
Right. And when it came to winning blue ribbons,
I was a General D. Gall.
I bet you showed the other kids.
With crooked dice. I could see the judge's eyes as they handed me the prize. I bet you made the cutest bow.
Ow!
Oh, you must have been a beautiful baby, 'cause baby, 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 look at you now.
Local joke. What moves faster than traffic on the Hollywood freeway? You've got it. Steve Canyon and the show that tells us all about the Air Force Men of America.
Bombers steady, open up the bay. Target straight ahead, now bombs away. On a practice bombing run, you'll find a man stops and takes big pleasure when and where he can.
Chesterfield. Join the men who know nothing satisfies like the big, clean taste of top tobacco in Chesterfield King.
Sun-drenched top tobacco's gonna mean that you're smoking smoother and you're smoking clean. Only top tobacco, full king size, gives the big, clean taste that always satisfies. Chesterfield.
The taste you've been missing in the length you've learned to like. Full king size, top tobacco all the way for top tobacco filter action. Tops in friendly satisfaction. Join the big swing to Chesterfield King. New choice of the men of America.
Chesterfield.
Of all the songs that I've sung, there was one that seemed to mean a great deal to Manny. Tonight, as I sing it again, you can just imagine what it means to me. No other love have I, only my love for you, only the dream we knew, no other love. Watching the night go by, wishing that you could be watching the night with me. Into the night I cry, hurry home, come home. Set me free from doubt and free from longing. Into your arms I'll fly, locked in your arms I'll stay, waiting to hear you say, no other love have I, no other love. Watching the night go by, wishing that you could be watching the night with me. Into the night I cry, hurry home, come home to me. Set me free, free from doubt and free from longing. Into your arms I'll fly, locked in your arms I'll stay, waiting to hear you say, no other love have I, no other love. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, it's the time has come for us to hear from Manie Sacks himself. The record is a wonderful thing. I think basically the recording business was Manie's first true love. How apt and how fitting that the medium he was so much a part of and so instrumental in developing should be the medium through which we can now hear Manie's voice again and share another laugh with him. The occasion was the magnificent dinner tendered him in 1955 by the B'nai B'rith organization of Philadelphia, honoring Manie as the Man of the Year. When General David Sarnoff presented Manie with this wonderful award, this was the sound that was heard.
Mr. Toastmaster, distinguished guests, and my dear friends, it is a little hard to express yourself when you have tears in your throat. I must tell you of a little personal, a little secret that happened between my mother and myself. I think it's very fitting at this time. When some of the boys dropped over in New York to see me about accepting this honor, I was somewhat reluctant and hesitant because I always felt that it was best if I sat on the outside where you're sitting and watched others receive honors. So I went to some of my good friends and spoke to them about it, and they tried to convince me it was the thing to do because it was the first dinner that I've ever had. And then I thought I'd take the advice of my prophet, my mother. And I went to her, and I spoke to her and told her about this dinner. And before I could say very much, she said, "Son, you must have a dinner. You've never had a dinner. And I want you to have a dinner." And then she said, "After the dinner, maybe you'll get married."
A great friend of Manny's, Leo DeRosa, sent a letter in behalf of the sponsor and the network, inviting all the distinguished faces you just saw. They all wanted to contribute something to the show, even if it meant just sitting in the audience. In his letter, Leo simply said this: "I was wrong. Nice guys never finish last. Nice guys like Manie Sacks finish head and shoulders above anyone else." And I think that's what we're really honoring here tonight, the nice guy. We've been saying thank you to what Manie represents, all that's fine and good in people, all that makes it such a proud thing to be part of this family of man. Because of Manie, there is in existence today a fund known as the Emanuel Sacks Foundation, which Manie started and somehow found time to devote so much of himself to. It provides the financial means to enable medical men to contribute their services to research to fight all the big ones. Now, the stars who have appeared here tonight, in front of the camera and back of it, have given so wonderfully of themselves so that the Liggett and Myers Company could take the money that otherwise would have gone into these 90 minutes and put it into Manie's foundation. $200,000. Now, if any of you out there would like more information about this fund, just write to any one of us you've seen tonight. Send it along in care of Manie's friends, NBC Burbank. Now I see these 90 minutes are almost over. We've all been very privileged and proud to be part of it. Good night. Good night, Dinah.
Good night. Good night, Perry.
Good night, Dinah, and good night, Manny.
And now a word on behalf of RCA from Vaughn Monroe.
The Radio Corporation of America has relinquished its normal commercial time tonight. We'd just like to say that we're very proud of Manie Sacks' great achievements as an executive both for RCA and NBC. We're even more proud of Manie's many important contributions to his fellow man.
Next week, at this time, be sure to watch Dragnet, starring Jack Webb with Ben Alexander, followed by the George Grable Show with Johnny Cash and special guest Patrice Munsell. Now this is Bob Lamont inviting you to stay tuned for The George Burns Show with guest star Jimmy Rogers.
Good night for Liggett and Myers, Chesterfield, L&M, Oasis. They're proud to have brought you this tribute to Manie Sacks.
See another exciting music and dance program on the new Bell Telephone Hour.
In color tomorrow on the NBC television network.